So here's a question for you. If you want to bring your best leadership to the table, how often do you choose comfort over freedom?
This is a really great question, Leanne. Quite often we're always choosing comfort over freedom. And this plays out in very specific ways on a personal level, and in a professional setting, where you might be at a social event and somebody brings up an uncomfortable conversation, a topic you really don't want to discuss, maybe because you value the relationship and you want to still feel accepted, and so you don't go there, right? Or in a professional setting, a particular topic or opinion that you might hold that is maybe different than the rest of the group. And again, the need to be accepted, you say nothing. So there's some times when you have to pick your battles and you say it's just not worth it. But there's other times, if you're always doing that, particularly in defining moments, you can lose yourself.
Yeah.
So it's important to say, when do I take a stand for this?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in leadership, right? And here's the thing. Comfort is fleeting. Freedom can be transformational, not just for yourself, but for those that you lead. And I think of a situation recently where a client I was working with was literally blindsided. Not just the leader, but the entire organization was blindsided by a competitor that made a robust competitive play that turned everything on its head overnight. And you can imagine the disruption, right? And the shock. And yet in that defining moment, he decided to freely express a point of view that was not the majority point of view. It went against or counter to the predominant analysis of the market and the conclusions that others were drawing at the time. And in that moment, that became transformational, not only for himself, but for everyone who followed him. So they actually were able to see possibilities over a complete loss of hope, right, in the moment. And this was uncomfortable for him. And so it's possible, but it requires a commitment to grow. It requires courage. It requires the ability to move through fear and doubt and the natural discomfort even of expressing oneself more freely. And this also is something that for generations humans have struggled with. This is like a quintessential question within humanity. I think it was Dostoevsky who said, man doesn't want to be free. Man wants to be happy. And I bet we can each relate to moments where we're like, I just kind of want to keep in my own little comfort bubble right now, my own little comfort zone versus really pushing the envelope.
Right. And Leanne, the work you and I do with leaders, often it's discussing this issue of to what extent are you doing things because you want to be liked, you want to be accepted, and you're not maybe necessarily respected in ways that you need to be as a leader. So we always encourage leaders, go for respect. Perhaps they'll like you over time. We would hope that if you're doing the right things, the likability and the acceptance will come. But let's go for respect first. And that requires that freedom of expression, in order to be fully respected.
Yeah, 1000%. And maybe they will, maybe they won't, right? But it is the road less traveled. And yet the power of freedom is transformation. And so if you think of it, some people say that only 1% of people are really free thinkers. And we see this represented in a lot of popular movies sometimes. I think of the character Cypher in the Matrix series, for those of you who like to watch that, who chose the comfort and the hedonism of the Matrix actually over freedom. And I think it resonates with us as humans because this is a quintessential paradox that we get to balance, right? So it's not all the time, but I guess our invitation for you is to question for yourself, looking at the landscape of your leadership, where might you be choosing comfort over freedom? And what's the price? Is there something that you are ready to take a stand for that could lead to transformation for yourself and for those that you lead? I look forward to hearing how that goes for you as you play with the balance of freedom and comfort.